Hi everybody, my name is Shannon. I'm with the Taste of Home Test Kitchen, and today I'm going to run you through some canning basics. You're going to want to gather some basic equipment like a cutting board and knife, some kitchen towels, ladle, wooden spoon, measuring cups and spoons, a timer, even things like paper towels. After that, you're going to want to focus on specifically your canning equipment. This is a water bath canner. It has a heavy bottom and a lid that fits well as a canning rack. The rack is important so that your jars are not sitting directly on the bottom of the pot and they will not bounce around this way. You're also going to want your jar lifter or canning tongs so that you have something that is rounded to fit the jars. This is a headspace measuring tool and a bubble freer. You use this dual purpose tool to release the bubbles around your food in the jar, and it's important to measure your headspace so that you know you have the proper amount of room before you put your lids on. And your canning funnel to help prevent spills when you're filling your jars. So the next thing you're going to want to do is get your water bath going. You want to fill it about half full with warm water, and you want to keep it simmering about 180 degrees. You don't need it boiling yet, you just need it warm. Then you're going to hold your cleaned and washed jars in the water until you're ready to fill them. This is so that when you're filling them with hot liquid, you don't have to worry about them bursting or cracking when they're going from hot to cold. It just kind of gets them ready for when you're filling them. You also want to wash and dry all of your lids. It's no longer necessary to keep them in the hot water. You're going to get a good seal as long as they're washed and dried and you're putting them on your warm jars. So then you want to take your clean jars and get them into your warm water. Then you'll remove those when you have your recipe ready and you're ready to fill them. So now that we have our recipe ready, our water bath going, and our jars cleaned and prepped, it's time to fill them. You want to use your canning funnel, and we'll just use a ladle to pour our hot brine in. You want to pay attention to how much headspace you're leaving according to your recipe. So then we will use our bubble freer and just work that to remove any air bubbles. Measure our headspace to make sure we've got the proper level. And then clean the rim of our jar before we place the lid on. This is just to make sure there's no liquid or debris that's going to interrupt that perfect seal. Then put your lid on until it is fingertip tight. You don't need to crank it down here. Then it's all set to go back into your water bath. Now we have our jars full and our water bath ready. It's time to process. You want to use your jar lifter to place the jars in the pot on your rack. Keep them upright at all times. And you want to look to make sure you have at least 1 to 2 inches of water over the top of your lids. If not, you need to add a little bit more water at this time. Turn your heat up, and then you want to wait until it comes to a rolling boil before you start your timer for the processing time. Our 5 minutes has elapsed, so now it's time to pull them out. Use your jar lifter. It's going to be tempting to pour the water off the top, but you want to make sure to keep these upright at all times. And you're not going to want to move them now for 12 to 24 hours so they can cool completely before you touch them. So now that your jars have cooled, for 12 to 24 hours, you want to check to make sure that you got a good seal. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that there's no give in that center button. Then you're going to want to actually remove the ring and make sure that there's no give in your lid. Then at this point, you're gonna wanna wash the outside of your jar and put a label on it so you know how long you've had it around. And now they're ready for you to enjoy.